Warwick Schiller and
G'day, I'm Warwick Schiller and welcome back to the Principles of Training. In this episode we're going to take another more in-depth look at the principle that I call make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. So in order to make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy, there's a couple of things you have to remember. One of them is you need to allow your horse to make a mistake, like we saw in the first episode. I allowed the horse to leave the spin, I allowed the horse to actually leave the circle. So that's one of the things you have to think about, is allow your horse to make a mistake. And it's the same as if you're in a management position. The first thing you would have had to learn is not to micromanage. We tend to want to micromanage people and we tend to want to micromanage horses, and it does about the same for horses and people. It makes them a little upset with us. The other thing you really have to remember is that horses do not learn from pressure. They learn from the release of pressure. So whatever they're doing when you let go is what they're going to try to seek out in the future. So in making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy, there are several different techniques you can use to do this. And I showed you one of the techniques in the first episode when I had the circle and the spin exercises. You allow those horses to leave and make the mistake, and then you correct them back into where you want them. That's one way of doing it. So another way of making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy is, it's not a correction. You're just going to apply a little bit of pressure and wait for them to figure the answer out. That's one way, and I'll show you more examples of that soon. And the other way would be how you ask those horses to do a certain thing would make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. And we'll go ahead and we'll show you some of them in a minute too. So this principle of making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy, it's not really someone invented somewhere. Like most good horse training techniques, it actually comes from how horses do things with each other. So here's a small clip filmed at Equitana, which is a big horse expo in Australia, where I talk about how horses actually do this principle with each other. The concept of making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy, the first thing you have to do is let the horse make a mistake. You can't make the wrong thing hard if you don't let him do it. Think about this, if you're riding a horse and you're sitting on it and it wants to walk off, and so you're pulling on the reins, holding it, stopping it from walking off, you're actually making the right thing, which is standing still, hard. You're putting pressure on them while they're standing still. So the horse assumes, well, I bet if I walked over there, you'd let go of me. That's horses have, thank you. Horses have that grass is greener on the other side of the fence mentality. And so that's the hardest thing for all of us, because I think we're all control freaks. You know, that's what people are like. We don't want to let them make a mistake. And what horses do is horses let other horses make a mistake. You know, if horses come from a pecking order type society, and let's say this is a young Elroy, he's a 2-year-old girl, and say Elroy and I live in a paddock together, and I'm the leader of these two horses, and Elroy's standing over there under a tree, and I'm standing over here under my tree, and Melissa, who owns Elroy, where's Melissa? There's Melissa. So she owns Elroy, and she's been feeding all her other horses with a wheelbarrow, and she comes over to our paddock and she's got one biscuit of hay left. And she chucks it over the fence. So there's only one biscuit of hay, and she throws it right in front of that horse deal sign. And I'm the leader. What's the first thing I'm going to do? You think I'm going to go to the hay? What do you think I'm going to do? You just gave me two different answers. Which one do you want to go with?
chase the other horse.
Okay, I'm going to chase the other horse away. So the hay's sitting over there, and the first thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go, Elroy, don't go near my hay. Don't go near my hay. Don't go near my hay. Don't go, no, don't go near my hay. Is that what I'm going to do? Has anybody ever seen a horse do that? No. What I'm going to do is I am going to walk to my hay. Elroy's not doing anything wrong yet. Okay? This is making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. If Elroy continues standing there, he's doing the right thing. Okay? So I'm going to go over here and eat my hay. Now if Elroy decides he wants to come over too close to my hay, what am I going to do? You know the answer to this one because you just gave it to me. What am I going to do? And chase him away. Until he does what? Until he goes away from the hay. And then what am I going to do? Nothing. Okay, so the wrong thing would be coming over here. So I'm going to let him do it. Then I'm going to chase him away. And when he goes away, I'm going to do absolutely nothing. So the right thing would be being over there. Okay? I'll leave him alone when he's doing the right thing. When he does the wrong thing and comes over here, I'll put pressure on him until he does the right thing. Then I'll leave him alone. But no horse stands over here and goes like this, okay? But that's what we tend to want to do with our horses. We want to stop them, hold on to them, stop them from making a mistake. You know, I see a lot. So here's another clip from Equitana in Australia where I talk about something as simple as having your horse stand there. You know, if you're not careful, you can make the right thing hard if you don't leave them alone while they're standing there. Mistake. You know, I see a lot of horses that come in. I have a lot of horses that come in that are, you know, a lot of them are warm bloods and stuff like that, but a lot of them have been held by the chin all the time, like, you know, hey little man, like this, okay? Try not to do that to your horse, because if your horse is standing there, leave him alone. If he moves, by all means fix him, but standing there, standing there hanging onto a horse like that would be like if I said to Megan, okay Megan, I want you to stand there. No, stand there. No, stand there. No, there. Stand there. Stand there. Stand there. Stand there. Stand there. You sick of me yet? Yes? Yeah. And your horse will get sick of you too. Is anybody... You know, a simple thing that some people struggle with their horses is teaching them to pick their feet up. And it's very simple to just reach down here and just squeeze this chestnut a little bit, and they should just pick their foot up and hand it to you, and you can just hold it up with one finger like that. And you can really teach any horse to do that by making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. And in doing that, you would use the second principle, which would be you're just going to apply a little bit of pressure and wait for them to make a change. And so I worked with a 5-month-old unweaned foal here recently, and I taught her to pick her feet up. And initially what I did was when I squeezed that there, I waited for her to just take her weight off her foot. And as soon as she shifted her weight off her foot, I let go, I released that pressure, making the wrong thing hard. And in this case, the wrong thing would have been keeping her weight on that foot. The right thing would be thinking about taking her weight off that foot, and I made that easy by releasing right then. Then the next step, I would have squeezed that until she actually went to pick her foot up, in which case I would have let go. The next step I would have done it, I squeezed it till she actually picked it up, and then I would let go. She wouldn't have to hold it up, just pick it up. And then what I would do is I would just squeeze that, and when she picked it up, I would catch it and try to hold it momentarily. And if she was struggling, I wouldn't let go until she stopped struggling. Then when she stopped struggling, right thing, I would release. And then eventually I could just squeeze that chestnut and she'd pick that foot up. It was quite easy. So you can see during that whole process, at no point in time did I squeeze her leg any harder. I just squeezed it the same amount each time. I just waited for her to give me a bit more of an answer every single time. Somewhere I see people having trouble is loading a horse into a horse trailer, a horse box, and I think what the trouble they have is they forget what their objective is. Their objective, they think, is to get the horse in there, but really if they can't get the horse to step forward when they ask, it can't get in there. So stepping forward is really what you're after, and where people run into trouble making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy here is, what I see a lot of times is, let's say they're going to lead the horse in, they put pressure on this lead rope, and when the horse steps forward, instead of releasing when they step forward, making the right thing easy, when the horse steps forward, they tend to go, okay, come on, get in, and they start pulling harder. And when you get harder like that, like you saw with Bundy right there, he said, oh, I stepped forward and the pressure didn't go away, the pressure got heavier. So obviously stepping forward was the wrong idea. Okay, I personally like to send my horses in. I usually don't lead them in, depending on the trailer. Probably this one here, I'd probably just walk in and lead him in, depending on the trailer. But the big thing is, you have to remember is you're not trying to get your horse in the trailer. You're trying to get your horse to go forward, and it doesn't matter if you are sending them in or you are leading them in. The thing you have to remember is, as soon as if they are standing still and they're going, I don't want to get in, remember, that's the wrong thing, okay? And if you're putting pressure on when they do that, then when they step forward, the mistake we all make is we tend to add more pressure, like he's almost in, he's almost in. And you saw what Bundy did a second ago when he stepped forward and I put more pressure on him and went, oh, hang on, that's the wrong idea. So The main thing when you're trying to get a horse in a horse box, a lorry, horse trailer, whatever you're trying to get them in, is, you know, if you're here and you want them to come forward, when they step forward, let go. Our first response or our first reaction is to pull harder. And just try to give them a little time to assess the situation and just make sure that all you're trying to do is get them to step forward when you ask. If you can get them to step forward when you ask, they'll get in the horse trailer. So I mentioned earlier that one of the ways you can make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy is just the way you set the situation up. And one group of people that do this quite a bit is people that train jumping horses. So I'll show you a quick clip here that I filmed recently with a jumping trainer in Arizona. So I'm here in Arizona with my friend Tamara Barrett, and she trains hunter jumpers. And so we have a horse here. She's going to show us some exercises, and then we'll talk about how those exercises make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. Okay, so she's going to take him around here and down this diagonal line. Now it looks like just a couple of jumps to me is what it looks like, but there's a great deal of making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy about why you've chosen to do that particular jump in this particular place in the arena with that particular distance. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so they're set at 60 feet to be 4 strides going away from the gate,
Okay.
which is a forward 4 strides. And they may want to suck back going away from the gate. So
as we all know, they're all attracted to the gate. So
yes.
you're having this is long, so it's easier for them to be more forward.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the long one going away from the gate because you understand that the gate may attract them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
and so what is it about what it is about that 5 strides you just explained to me was or the 4 strides, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
if they are not as forward and they have to put in a 5th stride, which this horse did when we were practicing, he kind of got lazy and did that, and then he had a hard time getting over the jump. And
Yeah.
so now he's more forward because he realized if he doesn't push out there, it's going to be hard to get over this jump.
Exactly.
Okay, so now she's coming around. What is this set of
This
jumps
is
called?
a combination. It's a 3 stride to a 1 stride.
Okay. So let's watch him do that, and we'll talk about why we would do this particular combination. Okay, so what's going on here? Why would you set that set of jumps up in this particular arena in that fashion?
Well, these jumps are set up this way. These are set a lot steadier of a stride than the other diagonal line, and this is going towards home. So,
Steadier means?
Shorter or
Shorter.
tighter.
Okay, so you're heading towards the gate and you understand that gate's going to pull them a bit, so you set this so the horse has to steady themselves in order to make it work. Is that correct?
Right,
Okay.
yes. We are making them practice being steady, going towards the gate.
Okay, very good. Now, how many strides is in that right there?
1.
Okay, so if they were getting pretty excited and tried to bounce it, they would have a hard time, wouldn't they?
They'd have a real hard time.
Okay, and so you would just keep, if they did bounce it and they were getting a bit rushy there, instead of you saying, no, you can't rush, you go, okay, let's do that again, and you would practice it until that horse backed themselves off. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so you're making the wrong thing would be getting rushy right here. You've got the jump set up, so the horse rushing would make it hard on themselves.
Yes.
And you just keep practicing it till the horse changes what they're doing.
Yeah.
That sounds like what I do.
Yes.
And so we're going to do that same combination we did before, but Tamara's added another element to make the wrong thing harder and the right thing easier, and it's adding that rail in there. Very nice. So putting this rail in here, what does that do, Tamara?
That helps back him off when he wants to rush down the 3 line going towards the barn a little bit.
Okay, so if that one wasn't there, it's easier for him to get a bit long.
Yes.
And because you put that there, he's got to shorten himself up.
Yes.
Another way of making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy.
Yes, going straight to it.
So Tamara's gone one step further in making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy here, and she said if that one rail doesn't back him off enough, then what you can do is you can add a rail in over here. And so what is this one backs them off? So if they were doing the wrong thing, it would make it hard. It makes them want to get back. And then this one, does that do the same thing as well?
Same thing, yep.
So there you go. So there's another jumping version of making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. So another place making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy can be done is getting horses to not spook at things. And if you think about what we normally do, most of us normally do when their horse spooks at something. Let's say this bridge I've got right here. So I've got some wooden bridges out here in my arena. I just use them to teach horses to walk over and, you know, do the teeter-totter thing on them. And but let's say this middle bridge right here is something my horse spooks at. If you think about, we talked in the first episode about horses, they learn from a release of pressure, not the pressure itself. Okay, so whatever they're doing when you let the pressure go is what they think is a good thing. And a lot of times approaching something scary like this, the horse wants to turn and go the other way, and a lot of times the riders hold them here and pull and kick on them when they're pointing at it. And if it really gets bad and the horse kind of half rears up and spins around like that, what the rider does is stops pulling and kicking, and then they point them back over towards the thing, and then they go, okay, we're going to go on this thing, and they're pulling and kicking. If you think about all the pulling and kicking is when the horse is pointing at the thing. Okay, and so it doesn't give that horse a whole lot of confidence about going towards that thing, because every time I point that way, you pull and kick on me. So there's a little exercise I like to do, and what I do here, it's all about making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy and allowing a horse to make a mistake. But if I was riding along and my horse saw something like that and they went, "Ugh," and they spooked at it, what I would let them do is actually make the mistake. Because remember, you're trying to make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. In order to do that, you have to let them do the wrong thing. So my horse would go, "Ah," and spook off over here. Now, as he turned this way and started going over where he thinks might be more fun, I would start just bouncing my legs a little bit, you know, just flap my legs and steer him around right to about there. And as soon as he gets to where that thing's in front of him, I would relax, just sit still. And a lot of times it's fleeting. There's this small moment where nothing's going on, it's fleeting, and those horses, they'll then spook off this way. And when they go this way, I would just bounce my legs on them and steer them back around like this. Take your hand real wide because you don't want to make a sharp turn. And right about there, you'll just sit still, and they won't stay there. They'll take off over here. And when they go over here, just bounce your legs on them and steer them around like this. So the wrong thing's coming over here. There's pressure over here, and right heading towards that thing's the right thing, and right here, there's no pressure. And then they'll probably spook off over here. And as they go over here, you can bounce your legs on them, steer them around this way. And the thing you're trying to get them to realize is right about there. There's a sweet spot. There's a place where there's no pressure. And what these horses will do, they'll go backwards and forwards, and they'll tend to start further back. And as you make those turns, they will end up getting bigger, and you'll end up somewhat closer to it. And then you let them stop here and sit there. And while they're facing it, you leave them alone. And I'll sit here for a while and rub on them or whatever. And then I will ask them to walk. And all I'm doing is asking them to take a step. And if they take a step towards the thing like that, I'll just let them sit there. If they take a step away from it, oh, off we go. And we might trot around here and trot around this circle, and then right here, just relax. And if they spook off over here, I'm going to ride them off over here and trot them around and come back here and relax. And after a while, they get to where they sit here for a bit, and you know, they're not worried about leaving, and you ask them to take a step, and they take a step towards it. And if they do that, I'll just let them sit here. Okay? But you've just got to remember that making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy is all about, number one, allowing them to make a mistake, okay, and then leaving them alone when they're doing the right thing. It's so easy for us. Like I showed you in the loading the horse in the horse trailer thing. When the horse starts to do what we want, we tend to want to apply more pressure instead of applying less pressure. So here, we allow that horse to make the mistake, go over there, and as he makes that turn, you know, I'm putting a little bit of pressure on him, and you can be waving your legs, whatever, you know. They make that turn, and after a while, any horse, once it gets over being afraid of something, usually they become curious, and you'll stop here, and then you'll kind of go, okay, where do you want to go? And they go, well, I don't want to go over there, I want to have a look at this thing. And a lot of times they'll walk right up and walk over it. So you could use this if you're crossing a bridge, if you're out hacking or whatever. Just make sure that you have the situation at hand. You know, like they've got to be able to move somewhere. And the big thing I would suggest is anytime you're in a situation like, say, an arena or whatever, where you've got lots of room and your horse has the world's littlest spook and can go, what's that? It's very easy to ride through that, but what I'd suggest you do is do an exercise kind of like that one, because you've got the space and you've got the area. And after a while, those horses tend to get to where they you know, they see something, and you can start to do that exercise like twice, and they go, oh, you've never let me down before, it must be okay. So off you go, and you ride over to it, and they'll go sniff it, they'll go look at it, they'll ride across it, whatever it is. But the big thing is the place where you want them to be is actually the resting point. And later on we'll get to an episode of the principles of training called choose where you work and choose where you rest, and that is almost another version of that. So you can use this for if you were trying to get your horse to crush something like this, not necessarily something they were spooking away from, but something they were a little unsure of. So you can do it like that, or you can do it when your horse spooks someone like that. So just to recap, making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy, you have to allow them to make the mistake, and then you're going to redirect, there's 3 different ways like I said before, but you can redirect them over to it. And the big thing is when they're doing what you want, you'd like to have those horses left alone. You just want to leave them alone when they're doing what you want. So hopefully that explains to you the whole, the principle of make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. Don't forget to join us next time. We'll do another principle of training.